Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Born Free here. I'm so psyched for Street Fighter 5. It's out in less than 2 weeks. We're going to have so much fun with it. It's amazing. Right now, I'm going to have some fun. I'm going to do some crazy ass speculating. A lot of my comments will be completely contradictory and some of them will just be insane and wacky. But I don't really care. It's all about having fun, right? And getting hyped for the game. So the story mode trailer came out. The cinematic story mode trailer. I'm so psyched for it. That's happening in June. And then they also showed us some slides of kind of how they're handling the prologue stories for each character, which will come out in February. I'm going to go through both. Mainly some of the significant slides and then also the cinematic trailer. I wanted to say to you guys, thank you so much for your support. It means so much to me. Thank you for the likes, thank you for the comments, and then also thank you for the subscriptions. If you haven't subscribed already, please do. I want to reach 3,000 and then keep growing. I want to push out as much content as possible and work as hard as I can in the first 6 months of this year and see where the channel gets to. The other thing I wanted to say is we're going to try and answer some questions like who is Nikali? Where does he come from? Who's the final boss? Is it going to be different in the prologues for each character? Is it going to be specific in the cinematic trailer? I don't know, but we're going to have a think about that. Where does M. Bison's white hair come from? Who are some of the characters who are not as recognizable in the game? So those are some of the things that I want to kind of answer. I'll probably be completely wrong about a bunch of stuff, I'm sure I will, and also I'm sure I'll miss loads of stuff. So stuff I miss, please tell me about it. Stuff you disagree with, please tell me about it. Stuff you agree with, please tell me about it. Stuff you want to build on, please tell me about it. I'm so interested in seeing your comments, it's unbelievable. These are only my thoughts, and that's it. The other thing that's interesting to me is this happens between Street Fighter 4 and Street Fighter 3. That to me is a very interesting story because we clearly know something happens to Shadaloo and M. Bison by the time we reach Street Fighter 3. What? I don't know, but there are a whole bunch of people missing in Street Fighter 3 and I want to know what happened to them and where did they go. So let's get stuck in, shall we? The first picture I'm going to show you comes from a trailer recently from Capcom who were talking about the different modes in the game, and they showed some shots of some of the prologue slides that have been drawn by Bengus, which are for each character's prologue story. I'm just going to look at some of the more significant ones that give us some information. The first one, of course, is that Evil Ryu is in this game, or at least in story mode format. So basically Ryu is clearly having some issues still with the Satsunu Hado, and here he is against Goken. And then also here we have him facing off against himself, which could be metaphorical or could be real. Who's to know? In his story, is there a CPU character, an Evil Ryu that he has to fight? The next one is F.A.N.G. F.A.N.G is wearing a robe, as are the other M. Bison cronies. They all have, they all look like they're in a cult basically, or sort of religion. And he has the square spiral pattern on his robe, which is also noticeable on Nikali's boots. And again, you see the same guys bowing to M. Bison on a throne. So that makes me think that Nikali is somewhat controlled by M. Bison, and later we'll see more evidence of that. Now, M. Bison is in the Lair of the Four Kings stage with the statues of the Four Kings. Now in that stage there's an astronaut, and on the floor are hexagonal, which makes me think that this stage is actually on the Death Star or the Bison Sphere or whatever the hell you want to call it. Could be the Psycho Drive. And next up, M. Bison's white hair. Now I'm still holding on to this theory that the white hair is a side effect of being a master of psycho power. Ingrid is very young and she has white hair. She is in fact, oh, she looks very young, she appears very young. She is in fact the master of psycho power. She's not canon, but you know, who cares? It's interesting because she says she's the master of psycho power. She's mastered time travel. She's mastered being psychic. I imagine she's mastered traveling through space and time. Now, all of that stuff is like, can M. Bison do that? Now, all of a sudden, is he the most powerful he's ever been? He sounds like it, he looks like it. He kind of was a joke to me after Street Fighter 2 and all the memes about Tuesday and you know, this is delicious and all that sort of stuff. Now he looks powerful. Now he looks like he's back. And I actually hope that he is the final boss, to be perfectly honest, because I want to respect him the way I did the first time I saw him when I played Street Fighter in the arcades. So let's go back to this slide with all the different prologue slides, and there were some that they didn't highlight, which I've zoomed in on. So one of them is in fact Cammy with fighting Decapre. Decapre looks like she has a lightsaber. I think this is Star Wars. No, I'm just kidding. I think her claw is just basically a laser claw. But she definitely had some upgrades, that's for sure. You can see her here in the same costume in some official Capcom artwork, and here as well, chilling on the right hand side. Now here's a flashback, it looks like. This is very hard to see because it's one of the smallest pictures I had to blow up. But it is Charlie in the Charlie stance, not the Nash stance. So it must be a flashback, and he doesn't look like a monster. It looks like it's on a waterfall, potentially the Forgotten Waterfall. Is the Forgotten Waterfall the same waterfall that Nash got shot to pieces at? Don't know, but that's interesting indeed. I'm sure his story is all about trying to find M. Bison, hunt M. Bison. Oh, I don't know. We will see. Next, we have Mika with fighting Laura with Zangief in the background, and the stage has chains in the background. Those chains are in fact from the Russian stage, which is called the Underground Arena. It has a bear, Russian dolls, Cossacks, whatever you want to say. The point here for me, which is really interesting, which we'll come on to later, is that Mika, I think, is in Russia with Zangief. Next shot is of Rashid fighting Ryu. It's interesting that Rashid appears to be fighting other good characters. He's supposed to be good, so I don't really understand what's going on. Is he being controlled? Is he having a lot of misunderstandings because he fights Ryu and he fights Chun-Li? Next shot is just weird. Why does Cammy have a finger in her mouth, and what is she talking to Vega about, and why does Vega have such a fabulous mask? So let's get onto the cinematic trailer itself. We'll just break it down scene by scene. First of all, you've got F.A.N.G. He's coming into some sort of launch station for the Bison Sphere. There's this very interesting shot of what looks like some sort of, resembles a sun statue or a sun artifact, very similar to the ones that can be found in India, which represent the sun god. Now, it also looks like it's activated by light, which is interesting. So this artifact, I don't know where it comes from. Maybe it was found in that cave in the hidden waterfall, but that's in New Zealand, I don't know. But it looks like this is definitely integral to the power of this Death Star, or whatever the hell it is. Again, another shot of F.A.N.G. with the Death Star. I'm not sure what's going on. I think F.A.N.G. is just basically kind of like a scientist or something. Suddenly Bison appears, and it looks like, to be honest, it feels like he's teleported a long distance. So teleporting a long distance, I think, is a big deal. It seems like that to me anyway. Again, I think he's more powerful than he's ever been. And there's a little 420 number, which is clearly an in-joke. Time is important. It keeps appearing and reappearing in this trailer. F.A.N.G. In New York in the financial district. Not a lot to be figured out there. These look like Bison cronies because they have the shoulder pads. This is F.A.N.G. bowing to Bison, so clearly Bison is the main man. And then the Death Star is floating in space. And it's branded, because why not? Running an organization, it's a brand. Okay, this stage is really interesting because obviously it could be good guys or it could be bad guys, right? It looks like they're military, it looks like they're monitoring the situation. I tend to think it's good guys because later on you see this guy here, who we don't know who he is. He kind of drops his head to the right as if he's a little depressed about the whole situation. So if it is good guys, that's interesting. We're going to look at a few different possibilities, good guys and bad guys. They are in fact monitoring Europe. That's important for one of the ideas I have. They're monitoring England, Russia, India, and China. I say Europe into the Far East. Those are all stages, obviously, in the game, and they all are characters who come from those countries. So I think these heat maps are actually of powerful fighters. And they must be targeting powerful fighters, perhaps. A 24-hour countdown till some sort of impact, something to do with the Death Star Bison Sphere. This guy here, okay, so this second shot of this guy here is interesting to me because his neck is huge and his shoulders are huge. His physique alone makes me think of Alex. Because look at his shoulders, look at his shoulders, look at his neck. We know that Alex is coming as DLC. So this is one of my weird theories, right? Basically, so Ono actually said Alex might play completely different. We might do something really crazy and shave his head, and then he laughs. Now the epic thing about Olo's trolling is sometimes he's telling you the truth, and it just sounds so ridiculous. You just pass it off as bullshit. So I had to ask my question. Well, what if he did lose his hair? Did he lose it afterwards? What happened? So one of the other things I came across I remember, is that they talked about Ryu's beard being integral to the story. How the hell is a beard integral to the story? This headline here on Event Hubs actually says Ryu's beard will factor into Street Fighter 5 story, and more characters might be getting facial hair. So why is everyone getting facial hair? Why is all this hair growing? So I guess my question, or my thought is, what if M. Bison can actually control time? And what if he decides overnight he's just going to speed time up? couple of years or something. I don't even know, right? But you wake up with beards, or if you're bald, you wake up with a full head of hair. So that may well be like Alex's story. I don't know. It's kind of weird. I mean, it's weird, right? But whatever, it's just one theory. Going back to this guy, the other thing I noticed about him is he has some sort of metallic chain, which looks like a gold chain. Could be dog tags, not really sure, right? Some people are saying it's Balrog. I can't tell. I don't think it's his physique. I can't tell what skin tone this guy is because it's very dark. But it could be Balrog because he has a blue top. He did wear military gear in Street Fighter Cross Tekken. And in the background, in the Lair of the Four Kings, he is wearing a big chain. But it's much bigger. That's an actual chain. So that's another potential character, right? And then this is the one that I actually think it probably is. Now, if you look at this guy, right, he's very physically intimidating. He does have big shoulders, he does have a big neck, and he has kind of a bald head, and he has this hat, right, which is blue, and it has this kind of pale stripe going across it. Recognize this hat? Well, if you look at Street Fighter 4 and you see one of Chun-Li's alt costumes, this looks a little bit like Killer Bee, but it's not, because she has the Delta Red symbol on her hat, and she has the Delta Red symbol on her chest. And she has camo leggings, or camo painted onto her legs. So this is, you know, as far as I'm concerned, this is one of her Delta Red costumes, which is blue with the insignia and that hat. So I think these guys are in fact Delta Red. And if we look at like the Delta Red team from the past, there is one guy specifically who is massively physically intimidating, has huge shoulders, has a huge neck, and he is called Matthew McCoy. Now he does in fact have like a prosthetic eye, or no, electronic eye or something like that. So it'd be interesting to see if that's still there and we just can't see it because it's so dark in that scene, or if they've just evolved it, or they've taken it off completely. Who knows, because they do this all the time in terms of characters. But I think that's Delta Red. So next shot is Ryu looking up at the Bison Sphere. The Bison Sphere appears to be blocking off the sun, if not taking power from the sun. It's a Death Star. Then he has like this, suddenly has this flash of images, right? Which makes me think that Bison is actually psychic and can implant like, you know, thoughts into your brain. He sees the face of Nikali, he freaks the hell out, and then Bison is there laughing, I guess kind of laughing, and it looks like he's in control of everything. So then next we see Nikali, now that he's been introduced, landing in India. Still wondering where Nikali comes from. Is he immortal and was hidden behind that rock cave and couldn't escape? Like, or, you know, was he brought forwards from a time gone by M. Bison? Next we see Nash, and he's in New York, and New York is all like, this must be later on in the game, because New York is kind of like all burnt up. It kind of looks like they just rioted or something, like based on the fact that everybody lost power. We'll see that shot in a moment in terms of losing power. Next shot is in Brazil, Brazilian stage. You can see Chun-Li, you can see Ken, and you can see Laura. And later on you'll see that Cammy is also in Brazil. So it looks like potentially there's some sort of investigation underway. Next you see Laura, because why not? She's hot, right? Then we have a shot of the Capcom Wrestling Association, I believe it's called. It has Zangief and Mika, who are clearly fighting together, which is pretty awesome. Again, Zangief and Mika together, potentially in Russia. I'm saying that for a reason. Next shot is Ken with Laura in the background. Doing an epic dragon punch, and he punches out 3 dudes. They're definitely Shadaloo, because the guy on the right is upside down and he has the Shadaloo symbol on his hat. Now, next is Rashid. Again, I'm saying, why is he fighting Chun-Li? Lots of misunderstandings in this game, or Rashid is being controlled. I thought he was supposed to be a good guy. Mind you, Chun-Li often gets confused and fights a lot of good people. Here's Ryu. Now, this is an interesting, cut of scenes, right? Because Ryu his stance is up. He's in India. This is the India stage, right? And then the next one is of Vega, right? It looks like they're in the same fight, but I don't think they are. Vega looks like he's in a completely different stage. This looks like kind of like the cave in the hidden waterfall or something. I don't know where that is. I don't think these two guys are fighting. I think Ryu is getting ready to fight Nikali in India. Okay, the next shot is of a mysterious blonde, right? Who's clearly in some sort of country like Russia or Czech Republic. The reason I say this too is because here's why, right? The reason I keep saying Mika is in Russia, Next shot is Dalsim. He looks so hardcore right now. Honestly, he looks so hardcore. Clearly he is about to fight Nikali, I think, because Nikali landed, he met that guy. It looks like Dalsim has jumped in to save the day. Next we see M. Bison. Don't know what's going on here. Is he doing another, is this Star Wars again? Is this a hologram of M. Bison in another place talking to people from a distance? Is that the kind of power he has right now? Or is this just a moment in time where he's suddenly appearing like he's teleported there? Not sure, but certainly he seems like a much more powerful character than he ever was before. Next shot is of Nash. This seems later in the game. Again, New York is like burning down. This is after something has happened, and it looks like he's holding something of power, and that might be the key to the whole story. Another shot of Laura. Why not? She's hot. Fist pumping. She's about to fight Ken by the looks of it. Friendly fight. All in Brazil. Oh, Cammy's in Brazil too, and there's Chun-Li in the background. And Cammy is seeing something. What is Cammy seeing? Then we look into her pupil and we see Cammy sees some sort of form of mask, and that is in fact Kylo Ren. And the best thing about that is we're going to have the greatest crossover game of all time, Star Wars versus Street Fighter. I had to sing that because obviously if I use the music it'll be copyrighted. So I hope you enjoyed that. Anyway, no, I'm just kidding. It's obviously the Capray. We talked about that before. This is the next shot is the Bison Sphere going mental. It's actually kind of like blowing out these kind of rays, which could be electromagnetic rays, because you see it over New York and then you see the lights go out. So it's like everything is overloaded. And the lights go out, and then I suspect riots start, stuff like that. Now, as the cinematic trailer ends, what we have is a very interesting shot in my mind, because it's a series of shots and it's the last in the cinematic trailer, and that is Charlie he's looking right? He's looking like he is, he's waiting for somebody. But, you know, his memory's probably all shot up. He obviously knows that the guy in this photo is Guile, and he's probably a bit confused. But you know, I think he's waiting for Guile, and we don't know if they're gonna fight, if he's on a mission. We don't know if he remembers Guile. We just don't know. We don't know. But the final shot has him looking. He spotted somebody and he's smiling, and so that to me is like probably the integral part of the story, which is Guile versus Nash. And it does make you wonder if in this scene you play Guile and in fact Nash is the final boss. Who knows? So in terms of final bosses, you've got, like, you could have Nash, you could have Evil Ryu, you could have Nikali, you could have M. Bison, you could have F.A.N.G. But I'm going to be honest with you, I actually think the final boss will be M. Bison. Now, a couple of characters that were missing from the trailer were Karin and Birdie. So I guess we're going to see how they fit into the story. I can't wait to see that. And then, of course, Alex, Guile, Balrog, Ibuki, and Juri and Urien are future DLC this year coming. Now, what the hell is my conclusion to all of this? Well, I don't really have a conclusion, but I do have some thoughts, right? So, where did Nikali come from? Is he immortal, or did he come from the past? I actually have no idea. So, I'm going to go with, as much as people hate this, I'm going to go with potentially time travel. Now, who is the final boss? I've already said it. I think it's M. Bison. I think he's more powerful than ever. I think he's controlling everything. I think he unleashed Nikali. People are bowing to him. They all have the same insignia on. So, M. Bison. And I think that would be pretty damn cool. Now, why does M. Bison have white hair? We talked about that. I think M. Bison has white hair because he has mastered psycho power, and that's a side effect. So who are some of the unrecognizable characters? Well, I think the first one is the dude is actually Delta Red, and I think is Matthew McCoy. And then the other stuff is just, it is what it is. So most importantly, guys, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give me a like. If you have thoughts, please, I'm sure you do. I want to hear them in the comments. I want to talk to you guys. And I just want to say, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And that's it. Peace out. Super hype. Can't wait to play some of you guys online when Street Fighter 5 hits. Okay, bye guys. There was one last thing that I wanted to say, and that is, I hope that Capcom, if this is successful, I hope they continue to do story mode expansions. It doesn't have to be the core story, it can be side stories, again, like Star Wars, right? So Star Wars has the main story, and then it has like Rebel 1 coming up, and then maybe there's a Boba Fett movie, I forget. But as the DLC characters get released, It would be great to have some awesome side stories, potentially origin stories or something like that. So that's one of my wishes. But I guess Capcom will wait and see what kind of impact the story mode has. But this franchise as a whole is beloved. It's 25, nearly 30 years old, and there's so much potential for awesomeness in terms of story. So again, goodbye guys.